Hello all, hope you're having a great day today. Today we are finishing up our discussion in chapter 4. So this is part 2 of strategic operations. Strategic planning helps organizations create competitive advantage. Competitive advantage specifies how the organization offers unique customer value. It identifies what makes us different from and better than the competition, and why should a person buy our product or service rather than the competition's. A sustainable competitive advantage, number one, distinguishes the organization from its competitors. Number two, it provides positive economic benefits. And number three, it cannot be readily duplicated. The key to producing sustainable competitive advantage is effective management of people. In athletics, a team is only as good as its players and their teamwork. Many organizations focus on quality as a means to beat the competition. If you consider starting your own business, be sure to answer these 3 questions. What will make my business different from the competition? Why should a person buy my product or service rather than the competition's? And if you don't have these answers to the questions, go back to the drawing board. Why? Because your business is very likely to join the ranks of failed businesses, those that don't have a competitive advantage and don't have a strategic plan for developing one. Finding core competencies and benchmarking go hand in hand with developing competitive advantage. A core competency is what a firm does well. In other words, its strengths. Management that focuses on core competencies can create new products and services that take advantage of the company's strengths. Through benchmarking, you compare your firm with its competitors, as was done in the situational analysis. You can copy others' successful strategies. Nike's advantage lies in name recognition and quality image in many different markets. The Nike name and swoosh logo continue to be worldwide status symbols. Nike is the leading and hence the strongest competitor and will remain so through continual improvement of the technology used in its footwear, equipment, and apparel lines. Continued growth in these divisions will be supported by new and creative marketing campaigns. However, Nike needs to monitor the success of the recent merger of Adidas and Reebok, which created a competitor nearly as large as itself. Reebok has relaunched its brand to help capture the fitness and CrossFit markets. At the same time, Nike needs to shift market share in the high performance athletic apparel market away from Under Armour. Nike is a latecomer to the market, so gaining an edge here might take a little longer than Nike expects. So Nike needs to focus on number one, improving U.S. footwear sales. Number two, continuing to increase international sales. And number three, building U.S. sales in its high performance athletic apparel. Number four, continuing to monitor the product desires of a new generation. And number five, improving the sustainability of the environment as a source of innovation and growth for the company. Setting objectives is a third step in the strategic process. Individuals, teams, organizations need goals to be successful. For strategies to succeed, management must commit to a carefully thought out set of objectives. The idea is to set objectives that are compatible with the mission and that address strategic issues identified in the situation analysis. Objectives are then prioritized so that the organization can focus on the more important ones. Objectives are end results that you wish to attain. They do not tell others how to achieve them. Therefore, setting objectives is just the beginning of your task because you need to develop plans to achieve your objectives. That's also why you need to know the difference between goals and objectives, how to write objectives, criteria for effective objectives, and the concept of management by objectives, or MBO, all of which we examine in the following discussion. Some people use the terms goals and objectives synonymously. It's not a good idea. Precise language makes for precise precision thinking. which of course enhances your ability to accomplish your organization's mission. Goals state general targets to hit. Objectives state what is to be done in specific and measurable terms by a certain target date. Goals are your target. Objectives guide your development of operational plans and help you to know if you're hitting the target. Goals thus translate into objectives. Likely goals and objectives for Nike's apparel and footwear divisions give a few likely goals for Nike as a whole. Successful people set goals that they then strive to attain, and they write explicit objectives to help them get there. The writing of the objectives is itself a clarifying and focusing endeavor, and is one reason why motivational gurus and career counselors swear by written objectives. If you don't have career objectives, your resolution should be get some. You can use the web study guide to help you to get started. To keep your focus on your end goals, like graduation, post your objectives on your desk or wall or create a vision board. Here's a simple and effective way to set objectives. Start with the word to, and then attach an action verb. Typical ones are increase, improve, enter, revive. You get the picture. Obtain would be another word. Now think of a single specific result that you want to achieve and that can be measured, such as a batting average of 300, and then choose a target set date. Here we've got listed as November 2020. You could set it for November 2022. Management by objectives, or MBO, is the process by which managers and their teams jointly set objectives, periodically evaluate performance, and reward according to the results. Other names for MBO include work planning and review, goals management, goals and controls, and management by results. There are 3 steps in the MBO process. Step 1, set individual objectives and plans. With each team member, you jointly set objectives. These objectives should meet the 7 criteria. Step 2, give feedback and evaluate performance. Communication is critical to the success of MBO. Thus, you and your team members must meet to review progress. The frequency of monitoring progress and evaluating results depends on the team member and the job performed. However, most managers probably do not conduct enough review sessions. Step number 3, review according to performance. Team members' performance should be measured against their objectives. Those who meet their objectives should be rewarded through recognition, praise, pay raises, and promotion. An organization's grand strategies are its corporate growth strategies for growth, stability, turnaround, and re-entrenchment, or a combination of that. Each grand strategy has different objectives as described in its strategy. Companies with a growth strategy aggressively try to increase their size through increased sales, market share, and fans. We will return to growth strategies in a moment. The sport industry is growing, and many organizations have growth strategies. Companies with a stability strategy try to hold and maintain their present size or to grow slowly. Many companies are satisfied with the status quo. Some college and pro teams, such as the MLB Red Sox, virtually sell out every game. With no real growth in ticket sales, they seek to keep fans coming. A turnaround strategy is an attempt to reverse a declining business as quickly as possible to prior levels. A re-entrenchment strategy is a reduction in operating size by the divestiture or liquidation of assets and laying off employees. We list them together because most turnarounds involve retrenchment. Turnaround strategies try to improve cash flow by increasing revenues, decreasing costs, and selling assets. Converse, the long-time Converse, the longtime maker of athletic footwear, tried many turnaround strategies to save the company. In the end, Nike bought Converse in 2003 for $305 million. At the time, Converse had annual sales of just over 200 million. Nike has since returned Converse to profitability and is in the process of opening Converse stores in major U.S. cities. Converse had sales of nearly $2 billion in 2016. The combination of a corporation may simultaneously pursue growth, stability, and turnaround and retrenchment across its different lines of business. We discussed the idea in more detail in the business portfolio analysis section. Corporate growth strategies include concentration, backward and forward integration, and unrelated diversification. An organization with a concentration strategy grows its existing lines of businesses aggressively, such as Dick's Sporting Goods that continues to open new stores. An organization with an integration strategy enters forward or backward lines of business, as you can see in figure 4.7, not here, but in the next slide. An organization with diversification strategy goes into related and unrelated lines of products, such as Nike pursued related diversification when it decided to add beach-style sports clothing like Hurley as a business line. And here in figure 6, you see it summarizes the grand strategies used at the corporate level. Growth strategies include mergers and acquisitions. Your organizations also grow through mergers and acquisitions. Competing companies sometimes use those M&As to compete more effectively with larger companies and to achieve access to markets, products, technology, resources, and even skilled managers. In a merger, two companies form one new company. The Canadian Amateur Hockey Association and Hockey Canada merged to form the Canadian Hockey Association. In an acquisition, one business buys all or part of another business. And companies also use acquisitions to enter new lines of businesses. It's less risky to buy an established, successful business than it is to start a new one. PepsiCo acquired Quaker Oats to get its sports drink, Gatorade, whereas Coca-Cola started its own Powerade brand. And forward integration, the line of business is closer to the final customer. In backward integration, the line of business is farther away from the final customer. Some manufacturers, including Reebok, open factory stores and fitness centers to forward integrate. That is, they bypass traditional retail stores and sell their products directly to the customer. Instead of buying rubber for its balls, Spalding could make a backwards integration and buy a rubber producing farm. So you can see here on figures 4.7, the left end of the continuum or pointing left is backward integration away from the customer. So you're acquiring raw materials and you're going into manufacturing. Whereas the right end of the continuum or pointing right is forward integration that's towards the customer. So you're moving toward retail and wholesale and the customer. You are no doubt familiar with the idea of individual investment portfolios. Businesses use the term portfolio analysis somewhat differently than would an individual investor. In business portfolio analysis, corporations determine which lines of business they will be in and how they will allocate resources between the different lines. As noted, a business line, also called a strategic business unit or SBU, is a distinct business with its own customers that operates rather independently from its parent corporation. What constitutes an SBU varies from company to company. SBUs are variously divisions, subsidiaries, or single product lines. Adidas has divisions for footwear, cycling equipment, and golf equipment. Corporations use the environmental analysis they perform on each business line, which is step 2 in the strategic planning process, to analyze their portfolios. Another method, the Bcg Matrix, places each line of business in one matrix. One commonly used method for analyzing corporate business portfolios is the Boston Consulting Group's BCG Growth Share Matrix that you see here in figure 4.8. BCG Matrix for Nike is shown here. The 4 cells of the matrix are as follows. Number 1, you can see over in the left, in the bottom left, cash cows are a good selling products that generate a lot of revenue. They may exhibit low growth, but they have a high market share, such as Air Jordan sneakers. Cash cows typically use stability strategies since there is no reason to change them. Air Jordans sell very well, even though Michael Jordan has been retired from the NBA for nearly 20 years. Footwear was an $18 billion cash cow for Nike in 2016. The stars in that left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, are emerging businesses with a rapidly growing share. The strategy is for a star to eventually gain enough market share to become a cash cow. Nike Apparel is a good example of a star that should become a cash cow. Consumers certainly like to purchase clothing with the Nike swoosh on the front. However, Under Armour taught Nike that new styles and technology can create whole new segments of the apparel industry. Apparel was an $8 billion star for Nike in 2016. I know it's even bigger now. Question marks in that upper right-hand corner are new lines of business with a low market share in an expanding market that the corporation believes can be grown into stars. The commitment of resources to these lines is, of course, not without risk because question mark can become dogs. We'll talk about those in a moment. One of Nike's question mark product areas is the use of technology in its footwear and apparel. For example, the Nike ID on-court customization initiative. That's a mouthful. Nike's endorsers Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant have all played using Nike ID on-court customization. In effect, Nike customers can design their own footwear, but it's just yet to be proven that customers would rather design their own footwear than just buy the latest styles directly from Nike or Foot Locker stores. Equipment was a $1.8 billion business in 2016. And then dogs there on the right-hand corner give low returns and low growth markets, and they have a low market share. Therefore, if a turnaround strategy doesn't work, firms often divest or liquidate their dogs. Nike has the largest market share for footwear, around 33% in 2016. So products that are dogs are not typical for Nike. However, the company's size can be a hindrance when it must pivot to address new fashion changes. Thus, Nike could consider developing a footwear line such as Tom's shoes with a mission of giving a pair of shoes to charity for every pair sold. Or it could offer a line of more fashion-oriented footwear to protect its sales from fashion-oriented competitors such as Skechers. Business portfolio analysis helps corporate-level managers to figure out strategies and allocation of cash and other resources to its business lines. Managers use profits from cash cows to fund question marks and sometimes stars. Any cash from dogs is also given to question marks and stars, as are any resources from their sale. Because it can be confusing to use similar names for corporate and business level strategies are commonly called adaptive strategies. These correspond to the grand strategies, but their emphasis is on adapting to changes in the external environment. Table 4.3, which you'll see next, gives a brief overview of the criteria used to select the 3 adaptive strategies of prospecting, defending, and analyzing. The objectives are different for each adaptive strategy. The prospecting strategy calls for aggressively offering new products or entering new markets seeking growth opportunities. Businesses that successfully implement a prospecting strategy tend to be the most successful. Models, sporting goods continues to open new stores to enter new markets to compete with Dick's. Businesses that implement a defensive strategy stay with their current product lines and markets and focus on maintaining or increasing market share. PepsiCo's Gatorade is defending its position as the leading sport drink against the rival Coca-Cola Powerade brand. The analyzing strategy is in the middle of the continuum between prospecting and defending. Business units that analyze move into new markets cautiously and deliberately, or they seek new opportunities to offer a core product group. Analyzers tend to let the prospectors come out with the new products, and if the products succeed, analyzers will come out with the same products. Coca-Cola and Pepsi were both well aware of Gatorade and analyzed its sales for years. With the growth of sports drinks, they both entered this market. Although the adaptive strategies model has no turnaround and retrenchment, business units use this model when they cut back or stop sales of dog products. If the firm does not replace its dogs with improved or new question mark products that become stars, it risks going out of business. The product life cycle is a series of stages: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline that a product goes through over its lifetime. The speed at which products go through their life cycle varies. Many products, like an MLB baseball or an NFL football, stay around for many years. However, the products and styles of the merchandise change. Fad products, like golfing products marketed to improve one's score, may last only a few months. Figure 410 that you see here gives appropriate portfolio analysis, grand strategies, and adaptive strategies for each life cycle stage for various Nike products. You can see the question mark, stars, cash cow, and the dogs. Pricing strategies are important to growing and maintaining market share. They also change over the product's life cycle. Prices typically are higher at the product's introduction because there is little, if any, competition. Prices decline as sales volume increases because economies of scale allow for lower product unit costs, and prices also drop back as a new competing products appear. So when a new product, a question mark in the business portfolio, is introduced, a prospector company tries to clearly differentiate it while using a focused strategy. That is, the company will focus on getting customers to embrace the product. Resources will be used to promote, advertise the product, and to get production up and running. During the growth strategy, sales expand rapidly. When analyzer companies see that a prospector company is doing well, they may try to bring out their own version of the product. Analyzer companies may use differentiation, focus, or cost leadership to gain market share during their product's growth stage. They focus on quality and systems process improvements to achieve economies of scale. They may lower prices, even though this reduces profit per unit, to gain market share. When a product matures, sales may grow slowly, level off, and even begin to decline. In a saturated market, the company's strategy changes to one of stability, a defensive strategy. Cost becomes an issue, and cost-cutting efforts are emphasized. Mature products are usually cash cows. As the product nears the end of its life cycle, sales decrease. A product can be in decline and remain profitable for many years. In the business's portfolio, aging products are considered dogs and may eventually be divested. The company's strategy must change from that of stabilizer and defender to turnaround and retrenchment, and back to prospector and analyzer, as the company needs replacement products to stay in business. Grand strategies and adaptive strategies complement one another. Companies select their strategies based on their mission, their external environment, and their objectives. Sport mass media, such as Sports Illustrated and ESPN, have been virtually very influential in promoting sport, and so have TV commercials, athlete endorsements, and venue signage. Brand identity is an important topic in sport that has four categories or dimensions of assets: brand awareness, brand loyalty, perceived quality, and brand associations. Companies budget large amounts of money to develop brands that stir excitement and cement customer and fan loyalty. NASCAR hired a public relations agency to reconstruct its brand identity. To gain brand identity, many organizations develop trademark images and slogans like the Puma animal, Wheaties, the breakfast of champions, and Nike swoosh and just do it. Operational strategies are used by every functional level department: marketing, operations, human resources, and finance, among others, to achieve corporate and business level strategy objectives. The primary task of functional level departments is to develop and implement strategies that achieve the corporate and business level missions, strategies, and objectives. These are the operational strategies that functional departments use as they do their work. They include the daily decisions and actions that make or break the team and organization. The marketing team's department primary responsibility is to define the target market, find out what the customer wants, and figure out how to add customer value. This department, therefore, is responsible for the four P's or five P's, in whichever theory you want to use, of product, your promotion, place, and price. The marketing department decides which products to provide, how they will be packaged, how they will be advertised, where they're sold, and how they will get there and how much they're sold for. The operations or production department is responsible for the systems processes that convert inputs into outputs, which was in chapter 2. This department focuses on quality and efficiency as it produces the products that marketing determines will provide customer value. And we'll return to that discussion in chapter 13 a little bit later. Human resources departments work with all functional departments to recruit, select, train, evaluate, and compensate employees. HR commonly develops policies, procedures, and rules for the entire organization.